Hello and welcome back to Euro Transfer Talk, where we round up the latest rumours and gossip surrounding the continent's best players. Remember to leave your thoughts about which of these moves are most likely to happen, spark some debate and have some fun in the comments. Let's get started. We kick off this week's video in North London with some good news for fans of Arsenal. Whilst their top 4 status is not yet secure, Mikel Arteta and Edu have already started making plans ahead of another vital summer for the club. Top of their wish list is obviously a world-class striker, but there is also a feeling that the Gunners would like to add more depth in midfield and at fullback. With Kieran Tierney out since the end of March, Arteta has had to play the erratic Nuno Tavares on the left flank, or more recently Tomiyasu, which has meant the error-prone Cedric Soares has been forced to play more minutes than the club would ideally want. But Gunners fans, your prayers have been answered, with Sky Sports claiming that Arsenal are prepared to spend €79 million on Gabriel Jesus, Aaron Hickey and the Brazilian winger Marquinhos this summer. According to reports in Italy, Arteta's side have agreed a fee of between 19 and €24 million to sign Bologna's Hickey, who has been one of the most impressive emerging defenders in Serie A this season. The Glasgow-born 19-year-old was on Celtic's books as recently as 2018, before joining Hearts ahead of the 2018-19 season. Just 2 years later, he left for Northern Italy and has gone on to make 46 appearances for the club, scoring 5 goals and assisting 1. A versatile player who can play on either flank or in midfield, it's fair to say that none of his numbers pop right now, with 2.4 tackles and interceptions, ranking 4th in Bologna's squad, whilst he has created just 19 chances all season. Good enough for 8th in Arsenal's squad, only narrowly more than Lokonga, who's played 1,700 fewer minutes. But the Scotsman is a player of immense promise, and at 19 years old for a relatively cheap fee, he seems like a better understudy to Tierney going forward than Tavares. Arsenal fans, what do you think about this deal? Let us know down below. One player who is almost certain to be on the move this summer is Hugo Ekitike. The Reims forward, who had only played 86 minutes of league football prior to this season, has shot to prominence with 9 goals and 3 assists in 23 league games this term, 14 of which have been starts. According to Fabrizio Romano, this form hasn't gone unnoticed by some of Europe's biggest clubs. The transfer guru has said that whilst Newcastle have been working on a deal for him since January, Borussia Dortmund have identified him as a top target in light of Erling Haaland's impending departure. Both sides are clearly in need of a striker, with Callum Wilson having missed at least 10 games in each of his 2 seasons at St James's Park, including a massive 23 this term, and Chris Wood having scored just 2 goals in 16 games. The Magpies certainly need some added firepower. As for Dortmund, whilst Brandt and Royce have chipped in with 9 goals each, Marlon and Moukoko, the 2 out-and-out 9s in their squad, have only managed 7 between them. We'd be wary about placing too much faith in Ekitike though. He's a 19-year-old who is only averaging just over 2 shots per 90, ranking 47th in Ligue 1. And whilst his creative numbers of 1.7 key passes per 90 suggest he'd be adept at bringing others into play, his 0.72 expected goals and assists per 90 is from a sample size of just over 1,200 minutes. For a club like Dortmund to go into next season hoping to challenge for the title, replacing Haaland's 86 goals in 89 BVB games with Ekitike and Adeyemi, with a combined 14 league starts and a top 5 league between them, could be a total disaster. Newcastle and Dortmund fans, do you harbour any concerns? Why don't you air them in the comments section? We take a trip to Spain now, where Barcelona are continuing to work on their summer business as they look to overturn the 12-point gap to Real Madrid and win their first league title in 4 years in 2023. Yesterday we broke down the news that the Blaugrana were very interested in signing Bayern's Robert Lewandowski, with the Polish phenomenon reportedly desperate to join the 5-time European champions. They are also expected to look to offload Pjanic, Umtiti and Griezmann, attempt to sign Ousmane Dembele to a new deal, and bring in Kessié and Christensen on free transfers. That's what we know about, but AS are claiming that the club are considering signing a defensive midfielder this summer, with Sergio Busquets approaching his 34th birthday. The article claims that they've got a 3-man shortlist: Monaco's Tchouameni, Real Sociedad's Zubimendi, and Wolves' Ruben Neves. AS reports that the Portuguese midfielder might be the Blaugrana's preferred option, because his agent Jorge Mendes wants to move the player this summer on quote favourable terms, with the player understandably keen to play for Barcelona. At 25 years old and with over 300 games under his belt already, Neves would actually be one of the most experienced members of Xavi's midfield next season, and has proven his quality time and time again. But given that he's currently averaging 5.8 progressive passes per 90, 0.5 fewer than Busquets, and 0.4 fewer defensive actions per 90 despite playing for a less ball-dominant side, he's definitely not at the Spaniards' level yet. Barcelona fans, if you had the opportunity to sign any of Neves, Zubimendi and Tchouameni, which would you choose and why? We remain incredibly sceptical that Barcelona could sign Lewandowski and a midfielder along with their free transfers, but if anyone could do it, their sporting director Mathieu Alemany appears the best bet. We have some bad news for any Barcelona fans that answered Tchouaméni to the previous question, because Fajai's journalist Ekrem Kunur is claiming that both Liverpool and Real Madrid have opened talks with Monaco for the 22-year-old midfielder. He's been in quite simply scintillating form this term, with his 5 goals and 2 assists in 48 games in all competitions, not to mention his stellar defensive work, being a key reason behind Monaco's rise to second in the table, above Marseille on goal difference. The midfielder only has 2 years left to run on his current deal, and his future has been a hot talking point in recent months, with the former Bordeaux man expected to leave southern France this summer to take the next step in his career and cement his spot in France's World Cup squad. Kunur claims that the Monégasque want to bid between €55 million and €60 million for the player, but he has also hinted that he could be prepared to stay for another year in recent interviews, saying, "Why not stay in the Champions League? Being eliminated by Shakhtar in the preliminary round this season stuck in my throat. Playing in the Champions League with Monaco is not something that would displease me." Monaco will qualify for Europe's most prestigious footballing competition next term if they avoid defeat to Lens next weekend, which looks likely given they have won 9 straight games in Ligue 1, scoring 23 goals in the process. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Tchouaméni should stay for one more year at the Stade Louis, or do you think he should take his chance and join one of Europe's biggest clubs? Get at us in the comments section. We finished today's show with the latest news coming out of Turin, specifically Juventus. The old lady have somewhat limped over the line this season, finishing 4th for the 2nd consecutive year, losing the Coppa Italia final, and getting knocked out of the Champions League by Villarreal, meaning they end the campaign trophyless for the first time in 11 years. It's sure to be a busy summer, as they look to arrest a sizable gap to Milan and Inter. Unfortunately for them though, after months of speculation, Paulo Dybala will be joining Cristiano Ronaldo as the latest high-profile forward to lead the 2-time European champions in the last few years. The 28-year-old Argentinian released a statement on Sunday confirming that Juve's game against Fiorentina last night would be his final at the Allianz Stadium, writing, "I will enter the field with a smile and my head held high, knowing that I have given everything for you." After 7 years of service that included 115 goals and 48 assists in just shy of 300 games for the club, the 32-capped Argentine can look back on his time in Turin with pride, although it's fair to say he won't be leaving on the best note. Not only are his side set for a 2nd consecutive 4th place finish, something that seemed impossible as they racked up 9 straight Scudetto between 2011-12 and 2019-20, but also on a personal note, with Dybala forced to sit out 16 games this season with injury, following up from 21 missed last term. With Inter Milan among his most likely destinations, we'd suggest tailoring his wages to his game time, rather than offer an enormous salary to someone who has started 38 league games across the last 2 seasons. The good news for Juve fans is that whilst they're losing one injury-prone player in Dybala, they're also likely to bring in another injury-prone player. Yes, that's right, according to Goal, the Bianconeri are leading the race to sign Man United's Paul Pogba, with the Frenchman having almost certainly played his final game for the Red Devils prior to his contract expiring this summer. The speculation around his future has been endless, with Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and surprisingly Man City, all credited with an interest in the World Cup winner. But the report claims Juve are set to meet with Pogba's representatives this week to try and thrash out a deal. He's believed to want a contract worth €11 million per season, which could prove to be a stumbling block for the Turin outfit, but he adored his time in Italy the first time around, where his 34 goals and 40 assists in 178 appearances made him the most expensive player in the world at one point. Juve fans, do you want him back on those wages? And with Morata potentially leaving too, which striker do you want to sign this summer to play alongside Vlahovic? You know what to do. So guys, that was Euro transfer talk for another week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if I missed out any stories in the comments down below. And why don't you leave your thoughts about Juve's business, losing Dybala and potentially bringing in Pogba? I'm personally not too sure. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please remember to like it and subscribe to Euro Football Daily, and I'll catch you next time.